Hello, everyone. It is Free Coaching Friday, and I am trying to figure out how to go live in my Instagram as well. There we go. All right, here we go. Here we go. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So, welcome to Free Coaching Friday. It is Friday, January 19th. And I'm normally on here with my bestie, Daniela, up at Artemis Hill up in New York. But she has got an incredible retreat happening this weekend. They're going to be doing all kinds of cool stuff where they're like snow inner tubing and doing some beautiful things in the barn with the horses and just having a good time in this winter. Like Tony Robbins says, in winter, do you cry about the cold or do you get out and snowboard? And I'm kind of oversimplifying the concept, but it is very powerful to think about what you do when things come your way. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. It's like, why is it important that we say no? So we can say yes, because when you say yes to something, you're saying no to everything else in that moment. Like how many different things could I be doing or you be doing if besides either watching this video or reproducing it, how many other things could we be doing right now? The list is infinite, right? So I want you to think about that when you come into the space and go, what is it that that puts us in a space where we're saying yes when we would prefer to say no? Why? Is it because we're afraid we're going to upset someone? We're going to lose connection. We're going to anger somebody. We're going to get fired. We're going to have to do, why is it we're going to miss out? Like you think about all the Harvey Weinstein crap that happened and all those women that were, put into situations where they were under so much pressure to say yes to something they absolutely wanted to say no to, that, it's horrific. So just bring that to your everyday. Bring this whole concept about saying yes or no to something every single day. And when you do say yes to something, 111, when you do say yes to something, do this. Make sure it's 100% yes, where you have no cognitive dissonance and you're not looking in the rearview mirror and going, why did I say yes to this? I wish I hadn't. And then realizing that even, how many times have you said, nah, I wish I wouldn't go. And then you get there and you have a good time. Well, that's what I mean. So when you say yes, it's a holy hell yes. And when you get there, you can be like Jesse Etzler says it best. And you've heard similar concepts before. Be where your feet are. It's like one of the best little clips out of a movie called Devil Wears Prada, where Anne Hathaway's character is there and she's missing her boyfriend's birthday party. And Emily, the redhead, says, quit fidgeting. You have to be here. All that nervous energy that we're having about where we should be rather than where we are is what actually creates duality, which actually takes us away from what we truly want in our lives. And I'll tell you something, when you come out and work with the horses, there is a level of, there's a connection, and I call it pulling Taffy. So you're like pulling Taffy, this connection with the horse and coming back and pulling Taffy. But when the Taffy, the Taffy can go really far, right? Before it breaks, right? So you think about the connection. When you have that connection with yourself, you'll know it. And you'll know if you have created duality for yourself. You'll know if you've had an opportunity to create a space where you're like, oh my God, I should have said no to this. And then when you do that, when you say, man, I wish I hadn't agreed to this, or I wish I had said no, the minute you say that, stop. Like find some sort of pattern interrupt, a rubber band, I don't know, whatever works for you. For me, I actually literally, when I was in some of my darker times, I would have all of these demon thoughts, these really negative thoughts coming through me. I had to write the word stop on my hand to make sure I got that pattern interrupt. And I was thinking all this stuff. The monkeys were definitely running the zoo at that point in my life. And I went into Target one day and I was like, stop, I just I yelled right in the middle of Target, and this woman was holding her child. I frightened them. It's like, but sometimes it has to be that big. I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine about a woman that's a friend of hers that's caught up in a lot of her, doesn't know how to get out of it, doesn't know how to say no, and it's causing her so much pain over in reality and in her true self. But she's getting secondary gain over here because she gets her needs met at a very high level, but in a negative way. Ouch! Getting your needs met, great. Getting your need for significance met is important. Mother Teresa even had the need for significance to be met. But when you do it in a way that doesn't serve you, it's because you're saying yes when you should say no. And when that happens, it creates a divergence inside you. And Dr. Gabor Mate talks about this in his book, When the Body Says No. And so it does one of two things. It either goes inside, and the next thing you know, you have a mass on your spleen, or it goes outside, and next thing you know, you're getting cuffed and stuffed and thrown in a prison somewhere. And I'm talking about extremes here, but it happens. I look at my mother. I love my mother more than anything, but she has never said no in her life. When that's not true. She came to my wedding, and that is the only time. I really would have to go through my childhood memories that I can honestly remember my mother ever standing up to my father and saying, no, I will divorce you. I will leave you. I'm going to my daughter's wedding. Now, fast forward 17 years later and divorced, but that's another story. But the key piece is that when you say no, you're adding cortisol or a chemical or fight flight instinct stuff when you don't say no. Like those chemicals get dumped into your body, and over time, those toxins build up. And you got to find a way to clear it. So what if you just said, we're able to really have strong discernment, really clear vision. Miguel Ruiz talks about it in his book, The Fifth Agreement. He says, be skeptical, but listen. And I get it, but I don't want to go into my life being a skeptic. I don't like that word precisely. I would go with be discerning. Be discerning, but listen. But I'm not sure that markets quite as well. But for me, having a level of discernment and knowing who is where they need to be in my relationship labyrinth. In my mastermind, I talk about something called the relationship labyrinth. And it's who are your 2 a.m. people? Who are the people that you really would have a hard time saying no to in any circumstance? And why we call them 2 a.m.ers is because if you show up in the pouring rain and with a shovel, they just quietly get their coat and help you bury the body. There's a really great clip from the movie with Jeremy Renner and Ben Affleck. I can't remember. I think it's called I can't remember the name of the movie, but Ben Affleck walks in and he's like, I need to borrow your car. And he's like, this Boston accent coming out. And we're going to go hurt some people. And I can't tell you anything about it. And he's like, Jeremy Renner's like, which car are we going to take? He's just kind of like, I'm in, no questions asked. In fact, my brother kind of played a prank on me. My brother, he's no longer with us, but when he called me and he played a prank on me. It was so funny, kind of. He's a Dante. What can I say? So he called me one time and he goes, hey, Jen, I need $1,000. And I said, where do I send it? And he was like, right answer. And then he hung up the phone. I'm like, Jeff, he was always like doing kind of kooky, crazy stuff like that. You should hear how he sings happy birthday to me on my birthday. So it was really powerful to have those friends that when you go, hey, can we share our last breath? Those are 2 a.m.ers. And those are the ones that are like, how you have those, when you sign up for something, you got like, here's the basic plan and the premium plan. And then like the big plan where all the check marks you get, you get this, and then you get full service and you get check. And the one on the right is like, it's the most expensive package, but it has like everything, all of the little green checks. Those are your 2 a.m.ers. Now, the reason it's expensive is because it's valuable. I actually did a post about this earlier this morning. Are horses expensive or are they valuable? And like kind of started a conversation around that because people look at me and go, oh, horses are expensive. A bale of hay is $40 a thing. They eat 40, they eat a bale of hay every single day. It's like, holy shit, that sounds like a lot of money. But what value? Those of you that have been here, the town, thank you, Judy. Those of you that have been here, and Judy's coming. Yay! I get to see her in a few weeks. So I'm very excited about that. But I want you to think about when you come here, the value that, when we go, well, horses are expensive, $40 for a bale of hay, but we go, I'm going to have an experience with this horse. That's going to change my life. I know. I can't wait to see you. And you have an experience with this animal that shifts the way you make love to your husband. And I don't mean that in a creepy way, guys. Stay PG and stay with me here in the spirit of this conversation. What I mean is how you connect. When we look at the things that are priceless, those are the intangibles. Those are not the Hope Diamonds and the Lamborghinis and the things of the world. Although, and why are they considered valuable? It's because of the meaning we give to it. So you look at the things that are priceless. Your time. I had to go to Comcast, the cable store yesterday. So I'm getting a new phone. And they had screwed up my order. Okay. And then they had rescheduled my thing. And I went to the wrong store. And then it was like a comedy of errors. I felt like these guys are like the Keystone Cops. They're so ridiculous. And I went in there yesterday and 3 hours. I spent 3 hours in there, and they're like trying to figure things out and waiting. Nothing. 3 hours. I had to walk out and do 2 phone calls in the middle of this. I was like, there's no way this is going to take more than an hour and a half. And here they are, like taking. So I was saying yes to these people with my time. And 3 hours of my time is extremely valuable. Can you imagine had I been out here working with a group of veterans with the horses, or a group of women with the horses, instead of standing at the counter at the Xfinity store, how much more impact I would have and how much value I could give the world? That's what's expensive. Horses are not expensive. People sucking your time and not being able to say no, and say, I walked out of the store. They finally said they couldn't fix my problem, and I walked out. I was like, this is not over. I will get some kind of compensation, albeit it will not be anything to the, it'll be a loss on my part regardless. But I'm not going to let this go, because my time is valuable, and more people need to realize that they need to value their time, and know that you have all the time you need. We all have 168 hours in a week. What are you doing with your time that causes you to have to say no to the things that you really wish you could say yes to? Many people would really, really love to come and do what Judy's doing and come and spend 3, 4, 5 days a week, a month, or more with me, and with these amazing horses, and tapping into self and embracing your power, and discovering your voice, and learning about self-love, and having fun, and playing games, and eating good food, and getting massages, and doing sound bath healing. I don't know, but that sounds like fucking amazing to me, right? But yet we spend 3 hours in the fucking variety, or the store, letting people take 3 hours of our time that we could be trading it for something else, which is a very expensive way to live life, guys. Trading your time for money, because one is infinite and one is not. So you're thinking about, what are you doing with your time that you wish you were not doing with your time, and start saying no to some shit so you can start saying yes. Yes, and I think really this is almost like a little baby rant here, because I talk to so many people that wish they could come here. I talk to a lot of people. Oh God, that sounds amazing. When is your next thing? I'd love to come. And then time and money, and I'm like, but if it's going to change your life, if it's going to move your soul, if it's going to, create an experience that's like none other. But there's a lot of those things out there, and we get overwhelmed with the choices. How do we know which one of these is going to be the most soul shifting, the most conscious awakening, the most engaging, the most fun? And so we go, well, if it's not the most, because that's what we're conditioned to think, we got to be the best, the most perfect, right? If it's not the most, we're like, well, I got to go get my kid's orthodontist appointment. And we jump right back into our little dirty fishbowl. Look up into the grand wide open, and look out of the fishbowl, and take the leap. Take the leap to do something that is a yes for you. I love Jesse Itzler has his big ass calendar, which there's mine underneath my very interesting painting of, or print of, a English fox hunt. So I'm more of a big ass. That's my decorations, or all my stuff for my projects. But, he talks about it, and he's like, and I talk about it too. They say, pay yourself first. Well, that includes in your time. In fact, paying yourself first in time is even more important than paying yourself first in money. Paying yourself first in time means taking a few moments for yourself, and spending a few days. Go and do something. Jesse calls it Kevin's rule. Every other month, go do something that you would never have thought to do. Like I want to take piano lessons. I want to start taking piano lessons again. I think that might be something I will do next month. I've been wanting to do this powered parachute thing where you strap a big fan on your back and then have a parachute and you like fly around. I've been wanting to do that. And you're like, well, I don't have the time and I don't have the money. That story is what's keeping you from it. The minute you say, I can't do what I want because, and you follow it up with time and money, you are shackled to being the slave to time and money. Start saying no to the bullshit, to the stuff that gives you cheap dopamine. Start saying no to those things. We can demonize Starbucks and the Stanley Cups and all that other crap all we want, but it's all of those things. It's all of the little death by 1,000 cuts. But I don't even want you to think about that. If you have so much abundance flowing to you, a few little dribbles out for a Starbucks or a Netflix binge is okay. But you got to start saying no to the stuff that doesn't serve you, which means, and T.R. Beckers, I'm going to paraphrase what he says about it. He says, T.R. Becker says, this hit me so hard when my friend told me this. He says, hard conversations, easy life, easy conversations, hard life. And most of us take the time to take the easy way out and say, you know what, it'll be okay. This will be the last time. I know I've been overcommitting, but I already said I was going to do it. I'm going to do it this time. And then I'm going to be better about saying no in the future. I don't know why that just rolled off my tongue so easily. I've never been there. I've never said those words to myself. I've never, of course you're human. That's the experience. But what I want to do is really dial in that level of discernment that you need to have so you can have those hard conversations, because it's a muscle. It's just like going to the gym. The first time you have a hard conversation, you're like, oh, survive that. Next time you have a hard conversation, oh, survive that. Next time you have a hard conversation, oh, well, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Boom, you just transcended. And acknowledge yourself for transcending the strength of saying no to the people that do not serve you and yes to the people that do. And I say people specifically because one of the most important things in my programs is this relationship labyrinth concept. It's very foundational. It was so powerful and so capacious. I almost didn't even put it in my mastermind. I was like, this needs to be like a whole topic around the relationship labyrinth. Relationship we have with our family, with our intimate partner, our friends, our coworkers, and ultimately God and source and spirituality behind it. It's a massive topic. But when you can start looking at that and go, oh, it's easier to say no when I know they're not a true friend. I accidentally put them in the friend zone when they're really just over here as a friendly stranger. When you start saying no to those kinds of things, it puts you in a place where you can actually have an opportunity to go, hey, you know what? Maybe I will go do that powered parachuting thing. Or maybe I've been wanting to try that cold plunge place up the street, and there's one up the street I want to go to, or whatever it is, that trip to Spain, or starting the new business, whatever that is. And I'm talking about things that are important to me, because I want to go to the cold plunge place. I want to get my old cold plunge, and I have a sauna here, and we're expanding and growing this year in 2024 to do more, be more, and give more through the power of the spirit and power that horses have to help us grow and be better humans. So if you want to say something about it, like yes to something like this, just reach out. I really do my very, very best to make time a non-issue and money a non-issue, and the more you do that, the more you do that for yourself, you'll be surprised as to what you're going to be able to say yes to. So start saying no, cutting it, to things that give you that cheap dopamine, and start saying yes to the things that fill your soul. So if this is powerful, I can't wait to see you, Judy, if you're still on and watching. If you are watching this, make sure please let me know that you're here. If this is the first time you've ever seen me, I'd like to get to know you. If you've seen me before, drop me a comment, and say, hey, remind me who you are so I can reconnect. And if you're watching the replay, just put a hashtag replay in the comments. And I'd love to know who's actually following me. I'm finding out that I have followers. Ooh, who knew? Yay, Judy. All right, Miss Judy. All right, everyone. Have an amazing rest of your Friday. And remember to catch Daniela and myself, or at least one of us, every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Free Coaching Friday. Now, have an amazing day. And remember to believe in yourself. It will change your life. Take care.